Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we have, well, puzzle marking a sad occasion with sede vacante, and I guess that's 2025 at the end. So I'm sure it's always a sorrow time, and that's certainly true for any Catholics, but I imagine for a lot of non-Catholics as well, given a lot of the positive work that the church tends to aim to do. Now, today's puzzle actually has a few different things on here, one of which looks like indexing, which I admit I'm not necessarily good at, and I always find like it's a little bit awkward to try and wrap my mind around it. I may actually just bring up the grid right now, so since we can jump straight into talking about the rules. But obviously my condolences, and I guess the conclave will start within a week roughly from when I've actually recorded this puzzle. Let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set with Sede Vacante by Ollima. I'm fairly sure we've featured puzzles from Ollima before, and you can see what looks like very much the papal seal there, kind of the two keys, the hat, and are they jeweled keys? I guess that's kind of the reference in here, or not too sure if it's sort of tagged somehow. Rules-wise, we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row. Every column, of course, every 3x3 box. Then we have digits on an X must sum up to 10. Digits on a V must sum up to 5. So if this cell is a 2, for example, this would have to be a 3 to make sure these two cells add up to 5. If this was a 2, this would have to be an 8 to make sure that these two cells add up to 10. There's no negative constraint today, so not all XV clues are necessarily given. A 3 in here is absolutely fine. A 7 in here, absolutely fine. They add up to 10, they add up to 5. No V, no X, all allowed under today's rules. Now, the red cells are indexes, and I'll be honest, I always find them awkward. It takes me a minute to wrap my mind around them, and then I keep repeating that minute for like the first few cells until I eventually sort of get it, and then essentially proceed on from there. So there is a concrete example. So red cells indicates the position of the cell's column number in that row. So example, a 3 in row 2, cell 4, places a 4 in row 2, column 3. So yeah, that actually works. I mean, forgetting the X for a second. So this cell, which is a red cell, is saying column 3, so it's saying the 3 in row 2 is in column 4, which it is. And this cell is saying 4, because it's in column 4, in row 2, because it's in row 2, is in column 3. Hopefully that makes sense. I imagine we're going to revisit this a few times. Anyway, to play along, link in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. And I'm almost certainly going to come to indexing last. So this might be tricky given we have red cells already, but what I'm going to first do is color every other... Oh, how did I miss the green whisper lines? You know, digits differ by at least 5 or more. So if this cell is a 2, this would have to be 7, 8, or 9 to be 5 or more away. Then obviously you end up oscillating between the two. So low digits of 1, 2, 3, 4, high digits of 6, 7, 8, 9, then back to a low digit of 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously not the 2 to repeat it in the same box. Restarting the clock. Right, the reason I kind of want to start there is just given the size of these German whispers, and obviously that I'm oscillating between low and high. So all of these cells have the same polarity. I'm going to avoid red for a second. I'm going to go for, I don't know, purple. That is fairly visible. Then these cells, of course, are green, as in the other polarity, lows and highs. You can see that in box 5, already 4 of one kind. So this cell has to be 1 or 9, because essentially you need something on the extremities, because let's say this is 9. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. So you just can't afford to go with anything in the middle. These two cells are definitely blue because you can't get to a 5 without adding up either 1, 4 or 2, 3. Can't have 6 and minus 1, for example. That just doesn't work. So these two are low. Obviously, this cell now, because we've already got 4 purples, has to be green. Can't have a 5th purple. Then purple, then green, and we now have almost certainly polarity. In column 5, we've got 2 blues. So if green was purple, we'd end up with 5, which is impossible. So green, yeah, I'm really hesitant about using red. I'm going to use orange for high. And then purple is blue for low. There. I may end up removing some of these colors at some point when we start looking at the indexing cells. So just keep that in mind that this is definitely temporary. Right, so first digit, this is definitely a 9. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. These 2 cells can't be 9s because, sorry, can't be 4s because it would require a double 9 in here. So these are not 4s. These can be 4s. One of these is definitely a 9. They can't be 6s because a 6 would require a double 1. So these are 1, 2, 3. These are 7, 8, 9. There are no more 4s in column 5 in here. Even if this is a 4, it would require another 9. So these are from 1, 2, 3. And then I've got 4 low digits already there. So I can't make this 2, 3. I would have a double 1 up here. This needs to be a 1, 4 pair. These are not 1s. This, with a 2, 3 pair around it, has a 3. So that must be an 8. This can't be 6, mind you, because the minimum this could be is 2. So this is definitely 7. This is 2. This is 3. And we have most certainly got our break-in. And we've got the first indexes, haven't we? I think I'm okay to remove colors in here. I don't really need them. And then this is essentially indexing the 5. So this 5 is meant to be in column 3 in row 1. This 5 is in column 8 in row 2. And then, of course, we've got a 5 somewhere in here. That is not an index cell. It is not. It is not. Okay. What more do I have? Interestingly, all right, so these cells have to have a 4 because I've already got 1, 2, and 3 in row 4. So there's definitely a 9 in here. And each of these cells sees 2. So they are a mixture of 7, 8, and 9, but one of them is definitely a 9. And we actually end up with a 9 X-wing in here. These sadly are 6, 7, 8. Nothing stops us from having a 1 in here. And the only thing that they're just not is the 9. So I don't know. Oh, hang on. I do know. I do know. Right. Look at row 3. No 8s. I don't actually know what cell it is, what the actual digit is, just not an 8. Now, there's also no 8 in the 10s and the X's because I don't have a 2 available. So where is 8 in row 3? Well, the only places are in here, where we already know that there's definitely a 9. So there's no 7. So the rest of this essentially is either 3, 7 or 4, 6. And then I'm left with a 1, 5 pair. And non-indexed 5, 6, 1, 5 pair. These are actually 5, 6. I may as well just finish column 5. I don't know if I'm going to keep these pencil marks. They're a bit overwhelming for me right now. The fact that it's an 8, if it was 7, that would have been helpful because it would have told me that one side is 1, 2. But essentially, the side that has a 4 has a 9. The side that has an 8 now has no restriction. It could be a 2 and 3 pair, for example. All right, so we're definitely going to have to start thinking about indexes soon. And obviously these were indexed. I haven't thought about that. Right, so this cell is indexing the 2 in row 8, which I know can't be here, can't be 8. This is a high digit, so this is not an 8. And 2 is in one of these 2 cells. So that is not a 2. this is indexing the 8 in row 2, and it's saying it's either 7, 8, or 9. It is, again, definitely not 7. It is 8 or 9. So one of these two cells is an 8. This is not an 8. Okay. We're going to need to do more indexes. I'm really trying to avoid it, but I'm kind of stuck for making progress. Five, 6. What are these cells? 5, 6, 8. Definite 8. Not an 8. 6, 7 pair. No 6s. So this is a 5, 8 pair. Definite 6. Definite 5. Regardless, I may make a bit more progress for a while, but what I'm definitely not doing is kind of like answering the question, so to speak. We'd need the indexes, so I can only put it off for so long. So the remaining digits are low digits. They're 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the low digit. This is the high digit, which cannot be 7, mind you. So there are no 3s in these two cells. And these are from 6, 8, and 9. To essentially add up to 10 with these. Then we have another 6, 8, 9. Well, not 9, because we know that there's a 9 X-wing between those. And a 5. So this is 5, 6, 8. Because there's a definite 9 on the X's, there's a definite 1 in the X's, so no 1s in these. Yeah, I'm not making this easy, so indexes. Excuse me. So these cells, it could be 1, 9. They're not 2, 8. Presumably they could be 3, 7. Actually see nothing wrong with 3, 7. There was something about indexes that I definitely remember a few things about indexes. Where am I going with this? The challenge that we have with the indexes is their depth. They're not very deep. They're only 2 cells. But they always have to come from different polarity groups. So in essence, there is 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And each of these cells has to be from different polarity groups. Reason is, if I have like a 3 and a 2, it's basically saying the 5 is here, the 5 is there, in the same box, mind you, and that of course will break the puzzle. So this has used kind of the 3 and the 8 are gone. The 2 is gone. The 5 is gone. I meant to say the 8 is gone, not the 9. Hang on. So one of these has, no, there's no 1. So I have 4 digits, 4, 6, 7, 9. And essentially one of them is going to be like 4, 7 or 4, 9. One of them is going to be 6, 7 or 6, 9 to make sure that they're pointing towards different groups. So the 4 and the 6 have to be on different sides. Have to be. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. Sorry. Different, yes, because the 4 needs to pair up with a 7 or 9. The 6 needs to pair up with a 7 or 9. The fact that they're on different sides, they don't have to be in the same column. Like, nothing stops me from having kind of a 4 here, a 6 there. So it's not like it removes the 4, 6 option off the table. Okay, we're going to have to do this with elimination. So 4, 6, 7, 9. Let's use the x's for a second. And 9 in here is indexing 4 and is saying it is all the way down there. Not a problem. 7 is also not a problem. It's saying that there's a 4 in here with a 6 there. That's fine as well. And 6 is a problem because it's saying that there is a 4 here, and then it would require another 6, and of course it would require another 4, so it's just not going to work. The 4 is indexing itself, it's fine. So this side is in essence 1, 3, or 6, and I'm not sure I can minimize it beyond that. This cell, again, 4, 6, 7, or 9. Now I'm imagining this 4 will be problematic because the 4 would say there's a 6 in here, which obviously we've just eliminated. So the 4 doesn't work. The 6 indexes itself. The 7 is pointed towards a 6 over here, which definitely doesn't work, doesn't it? Yeah, it would say 7 and 6, and they definitely don't add up to 10. 9 would say there's a 6 in here. So this is 1 or 4. This is very limited. The 6, there's always a 4. This is helpful. So it's a 4, is it? Excuse me. There's always a 6. No, that's not going to work because the 6 is in a different location. So that's not helpful. Right, this cell is indexing 4, and it's either in here. It's indexing 3, excuse me. The 6 doesn't work because it's saying that there's a 3 in here. So 6 is off the table. This is not a 4. There's definitely a 3 now in one of these two cells because the 1 or 3 are either in these two locations. So there's no 3, 7 in here. And therefore this is 4, 6. And there's no 4, 6 in there. This is 3, 7. Yeah, I told you I'm going to struggle with the indexing. So there's no real surprise here. It feels somehow like something's not working here. Something's going to break. All right, so if this is 9, this breaks. 9 places a 4 here, and then this cell, because essentially that becomes a 1, can't be 1 or 4. So that is forced. So this is 7, this is 3, that is not a 3. That 7 is indexing a 4 in here, and a 9, no, excuse me, a 6 there. So the 3 is indexing itself, the 6 is indexing itself, the 7 I've done, the 4 is pointing to the 7, so that's also done. And then remember what I said about how these need to be from different polarity sets, so the 9 has to be in here, the 4 has to be there. The 4 is indexing itself, the 9 is saying that there is a 6 all the way out here. Fantastic. I say fantastic, has actually helped me with anything else. These are now 1, 2, 9s. Am I still struggling with this? Kind of thought now that I've got so much out of it, this is not the 5, this is the 5. I'm sure that like famous last words of how am I still struggling is the answer is always Sudoku. Always Sudoku, not a 1. Excuse me. Have we got any more? Kind of where that came from? Are any of these results? Yes, that's not the 4, that is the 4. That tells me that's the 9. That is not a 9. 9 in here tells me that is an 8. That is an indexing cell, so it's indexing itself in here. Oh yeah, so not very useful. And this one is still 7 or 9, so that hasn't actually changed anything. Never mind. 8, 9 means 2 and 3 possible. 1 in here means 7. 8 is possible. So no easy wins there. Have we got any more obvious things? So one of these is a 1 because one of these is a 6. So that was never a 1. That's 2 or 3. The 9, of course, bounces back and gives me the 8. The 9, that was there a while. That is therefore the 4. That is not the 4. None of these are 4s. That is not a 6. That was never a 1 because the 1 was in here. So this is 2 or 3. This is not a 6 because of the 6 up here. So this is not a 4 either. So we have an 8-9 pair, which says this has to be 6. That's 7. That is 6. That's 1. That's not 1. That is definitely a 2. I don't know how I left the 3 on here with a 6-7 pair. That is now a 3. And I'm sure we can get some more out of this. 2 gave me 3. Not 3. The 8-9 pair is surprisingly still not resolved. The 4 up here gave me 6 and 4. This side doesn't have the 9. This side does. I now have the 7 and 3. So, like, yeah, I am just missing tons of Sudoku. And then a 1-2 pair up here. Then a 7-8 pair up there. The 7, of course, in here gave me an 8. I don't know, that doesn't look very helpful. This is 2-4 pair. That's the 4, that's the 2, that's 3, that's 1, that's 9, that's 8, that's 2, that's 4. That 2 means that is not a 2, that is a 2, which forces a 7 in here in that index, and therefore that forces a 2 up here. This is not a 2. That 2 gave me 1, 2, and this is 1 indeed. 2, 1, 2. In here I have 5-8, seemingly not resolved. Then I have a definite 1, 7-9, that's 7, that's 9. A known digit of 6. These really not, no, they were resolved ages ago, never mind. 5, 8, not resolved. So 5, 7, or 8, it is only 5, therefore 8, therefore 7. Hang on, 8. What am I doing? I did mean to say 5 down here. I'm going to rewind because I am clearly Sudoku blind. The 7 gave me the 8. That's the challenge. That's the 5. That's the 8. I'm entirely missing another digit here. 2, no, 9. Right, there is a 9 here. So 1s, what about 2? I need a 2 there. 4s is here. 8s there. So that 6 is a 6. And a 6. We need 3 and 7 in here. That's 7. That's 3. That's a known digit of 5. 3, 7, 3, and if I've not made any other silly mistakes, that's a 5 for the finish. It's a fantastic puzzle, Olima, for a somber occasion. Yeah, indexing, always a struggle. But I hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back soon. I'm going to just double check. Yeah, it recorded all of it. See you back soon. Bye-bye for now.